actually did a sim that was a Chesapeake sim. I mean, not there for the first scenario. However, my specialty is cardiovascular. How would you guys say as an entry level person?
You're like, I don't know, it's been years. Is it gibberish to them still? Or they don't know anything about it?
Right. Yeah. Is that it's unrealistic? Is this where so it was really interesting.
Okay. Ready?
Sure.
Yes.
I will take that affirmation from like 2 of you as yes, you're all ready to go. So excited right now. Okay, so a couple of things. The first one is, obviously, I am not Bob. But I'm going to try to cover the area and content and topic of OER. I have grown to love OER. It's something that here at NNU we have really strived to try to bring out more and flesh out more with our faculty in the context of why it's really good, some of the great places you can find really good resources, and how it's kind of transforming what we can do with students, right? And giving them ownership and a platform in which they can speak into content and material and different things like that. And I feel like that's where OER really gives a professor, a lecturer, a adjunct, right, call it what you want, the ability to bring in those student experiences and that student voice into what it is that's going on. So I'm going to hit some highlights. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about why OER. Okay, and a little bit more of where we can find them, because I think that also is kind of a linchpin sometimes of, I know there's things out there, and if I do a Google search for OER, I may come up with some really great stuff, but I have no way of vetting that, right? I have no idea what's really good and what's garbage. And honestly, I don't have time, right? Because that's a precious commodity for all of us to do that, right? And those things, okay? And then we're also gonna, if we have time, highlight, and I say highlight because that's really what it's going to be, the understanding of what Creative Commons licensing is, because that is a foundational piece of OER, right? And that's what gives you the ability as an author to own your work, but be able to allow it to be shared and allow it to be added to, right? And allow it to have a life that's very organic. Where sometimes we don't like things that are organic. We're very used to, here's my textbook, right? I have a front and a back cover, and everything that my students need to know is contained within those 2 key component pages, right? Okay. So I love this quote from the College Board, and it's kind of startling in a way. And so I'm going to lead with some of these things because I feel like this information is really, really pertinent. Why? Okay, because it speaks to the why, right? So again, about $1,300 is yearly books and supplies. That's a lot of money. Now, any mathematicians, math majors, anybody like numbers? Okay, like one of you. Everybody's like, I kind of like maybe, right? Okay, so let's think about this in broad terms for a second. 1,300 times what? A 4-year degree on average? If they attend every class, and they come all 4 years, right? You can maybe still work it out, and you do summer school, okay? So 4 years times 13 is, okay, 52. So you got $5,200. Now that's in your financial aid package, right? Okay, what's the average rate for a student loan?
5%?
Cool, we'll take 5% rate, right? Depending on, for undergrad, depending on where you're getting your loan service through. So 5% compounded annually? Sure? Okay, so what is that? So 52 times, what's that? Okay, that you add, right, on top of that. Times that by 30 years. So your $5,200 costs you what? Yeah. That hurts. That hurts. That's for your 4-year degree. Those astute students who want to continue on and do master's work, right? This number is right in there, if not more. I remember one of my master's courses, I had a book that was $300. I don't even know if I opened it. I can say that now because I completed that degree in 2000 now. Like that's totally okay. We're good. But it's startling, right? The number of students that we talk about financial debt, and we talk about being fiscally responsible with students and with money and things like that. And as a university and as a professor, if we see these numbers and we have the ability to do something about it, let's do that, right? Let's do that. Okay, so what is OER? That's, again, one of the big things we're gonna talk about today. I like them both. One of them is very astute. It speaks to the PhD in me, right? And so it says OER is a teaching and learning and research source. It resides in the public domain. It has been released under an intellectual property license that permits its free use and repurposing by others. It's beautiful. Okay, and if I like words a lot, that's the definition that I'm probably going to pick. Now, the regular person and playing with my kids likes the other definition a whole lot more, which is OER is a high quality teaching, learning, and research material that is free for people everywhere to use and repurpose. I can get behind that. That makes sense to me. Okay, there's words in there that really, I like a lot. I've got high quality, I've got teaching, I've got learning, and I've got research. Things that we want our students to be able to do. And OERs, especially with the good ones, they encompass all of those tenets. That's a major component in there. Okay, you do not need to read all of this. Okay, statistically, if I put a slide up that has a lot of words on it and they're really hard to read, you're going to struggle to read them and you're not going to pay attention. So don't do that. I use this, okay, as an illustration that if you want to come back later and actually browse through this, you can. The main point that I want you to understand is that they really use and they're provided at no cost. That's the tenet and the foundation of what a good OER is. If they're charging for it, that's not OER. Okay? If there's a cost or a fee associated with it for you to use in a classroom, it's not OER. They can call it all day what they want. It's not. There are some publishers, and I want to tell you this and be upfront with you, that they will say they have OER and they have those resources available to you, and they are free. In order to gain access to that free resource, you have to purchase a platform, learning management tool, something to get access to those free resources. Okay? I'm going to show you where there's some amazing resources that truly are free by some of the best universities, not only in our nation, but also in the world. Okay? Anybody know who Dave Wiley is? Wiley. If you don't know who he is, he's a great guy, especially in OER. Basically is one of, we could kind of call him like one of the founders of the movement of OER. He's been doing OER and having OER research and conducting those things for about 20 years. And they came up with these 5 R's. They're terrific. We're not going to hit the definitions. I want you to understand what they are. It's being able to retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute. Of OER. If it hits all of those things, we're good. We're totally good. Okay, why OER? Well, let me give you some reasons why. The first one is over probably the last, I think it was from 77 to 2015, textbook rose 3 times the rate of inflation. Now, I found this in 2015. Okay, that was a statistic then. So, of what a textbook cost. Since then, year later, they've gone up an additional 73% since that time. So if you're adding, right, we're looking at numbers, you're taking just over 1,000 and adding another 73% to it, and now you're looking at just under 1,100% increase since 1977. 75-cent ancillary textbook. That's some good paper. Now, my mom's a saver, okay? And I love her because one of the things she does is she will save her clothes from a certain period in time because her philosophy is it always comes back around, right? So now that like the 70s are kind of making a comeback, she's like, I'm style. I'm ready to go. She broke out a box the other day and was like, look at what I got. I'm like, Mom, that's disgusting. It's for 2 reasons. I know it's gross, but the fact that you like, it's cyclical like that, right? That's crazy to me. Okay, textbooks have a shelf life, and we all understand that because we've taken education courses or whatever that is. The problem with it is they don't come back around, right? So when a student purchases a textbook and they charge $150 for that textbook, the buyback on that is pennies on the dollar, right? If you get $30 for that thing, you're doing good if the publisher didn't create a new version of that in between the time you bought it and the end of that course, right? Because if they did, now you're out of luck. Okay. So I use my illustration point, right, for that aspect. Okay, this one really got me. 7 out of 10 students don't even purchase the textbook because it's too expensive. So the College Board, or Chronicle of Higher Education, this one was, as a professor, what am I doing? Right? My students, how are they learning anything? Because I'm setting up my course without that information. Okay, just a couple more. Right? We catching the picture here? Like the needs that are here far outweigh somewhat of the measure. Okay, number of students that have skipped or deferred a class due to the price of the required learning resource. So now we have students, A, they're not buying the material, and now they're not taking the course that they afford the textbook. Okay? You're going to love it. Well, that one really hurt too. 4 times the rate of inflation. Okay. There's a piece in here that I really want you to kind of understand. So 30%, almost a third. And again, now we're talking current statistics. So these were 2016 to 2016, so pretty recent. Okay, 30% replied from this survey that this student report conducted that they used financial aid to pay for their books. Okay, so over and under, what that means, if we have 5.2 million undergrad students, they spent over $1.5 billion on financial aid every semester, or $3 billion a year just on textbooks. That's a lot of paper. So it's paper for the book and paper for whatever. All right, I want you to kind of hear some stories.
Yeah, about the same.
Close to 300 each?
Yeah, close to $300.
Probably $300 to $400. Probably $300.
$730.
Well, I don't get to buy anything.
After financially get everything, like they gave me about like 400, and then the money that 400 they gave me basically everything goes back to the book. Yeah, all with
Yeah.
A book was 250 and my class was around the same amount. So it was quite a lot this quarter compared to all other quarters.
Okay. $730. I want to ask that kid like what class he took. Really, like I want to know. But right? Who said it? Engineering
courses. Yeah.
Right? And it's crazy. Okay. So even seeing all of that, right? Even though I'm totally front loading all of this to get you to really pull on a heartstring, to get you to be like, oh yes, student finances, let's really be good for the student. The really big reason, right, of why OER can be so impactful and it's such a great tool in your classroom is because it gives you, the professor, the faculty, the adjunct, the person who's disseminating that information, the ability to customize what the kids are learning, student, and give it exactly what they need and nothing more, right? How many times have you actually used a textbook and given them they've read every page of the textbook? They've used everything out of the textbook. Anybody? You're spectacular. Look at everybody's hands are up, right?
I did that once and it killed them.
Okay, right. Yes. Thank
And then
you.
you can't put everything in the book on the test.
Exactly. You taught an entire course over an entire year, maybe, right? Maybe. But you're actually right. You can't. OERs give you the ability to have that customization option, right? You can pick and choose from what you want. And they don't cost anything. Okay, I think I beat that dead horse. Okay. So you're asking me, right? I can feel you're asking me. You're like, where are they? These are like beautiful resources. Where do I find them? Where can I look to search? Because I don't and hearing about them, but I don't know where. Okay, let me help you. Would you like my giant list of resources that I just gave you? Right? I want you to write all these down. No, I don't. I'm going to share this presentation, okay? And I want you to go to the website. I want you to grab this. I'm going to talk about a few of these resource links, and I'm going to click on them so I can show you exactly what it is that you're looking for. Okay. The state of Washington has some of the best OER resourced websites that I have ever found. We do not have anything that is a collector, right? That gives us the ability to basically filter, right? Where we can look through things. However, I want you to understand this is not a plug. This is totally not a plug. It kind of is. Because we know that there's a need for us as faculty, right, that teach students in Idaho that want to have access to this, we're working on creating something that is similar, that mirrors what some of the other states that are doing really well and doing good at this, what they have, so that we can bring some of that information to our professors here in Idaho so that they don't have to feel like they have to go out somewhere else, right? And that we can kind of curate that and then work with professors to build that. And what do you want? What do you need? What are you looking for? How can we help? Those type of things. Okay, so again, two of those that I want you to really like look at heavily are these two. So there's if you go to openwa.org, okay? Yeah, so if you're taking notes, you want to write that down, you can. If not, you can get this presentation, and it's going to be awesome. So Open Washington, even if you Google searched Open Washington, it'll come up with the OER site. It is spectacular, okay? It is spectacular. It has got a ton of information. It's very well put together. Oops, let me go back. Okay, so Open Washington, okay? You have the ability to scroll through. You can look at certain things that you're looking for, different providers, okay? So think of it like a textbook foundry, I'll use that term, where they have a bunch of different materials that are kind of all put together and kind of has the ones that I want to highlight off of the Open Washington page is this website right here, which is Merlot. It is a tremendous resource if you're looking for something specific, and it's very high quality, okay? They've got when they say 40,000 materials plus, it really does. I know that number sounds overwhelming to search through, but the way that you can filter things, they've done a really spectacular search for exactly what it is that you're looking for, okay? We'll come back to that one also. This one right here, OER Commons, is another really, really great OER resource. It has vetted resources. So these are resources that have been created and designed by educators, professors, people that work at universities, and then it goes through an actual process before it is put into their collection, okay? One thing we're going to talk about at the very end, but I'm going to highlight it here, is what's called courseware. So MIT is the one that kind of started this, and what they did is they were like, OERs are great, but what if we took it to another level? What if we actually created a space where a professor could go and get everything they would need for a course? So we're talking assessments, we're talking worksheets, we're talking syllabi, like everything, a total package. So they're called courseware, so it's open courseware. And there's a number of other institutions now that are doing the same thing and have similar things. Now, what MIT has is, and what's kind of different about it is it's not necessarily people that work in an institution that are building these things, but a lot of them are actual people that work out in that, and they're compiling this information and saying, hey, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a chemist, if you want to be a molecular biologist, if you want to do these things, this is the stuff that we actually do on a day-to-day basis. These are the things that you need to know. These are what the students need to be taught. And so you can go out and grab those resources and pull them in, and then have the ability, because it's OER, to then modify them and adapt them and make them your own. Okay. Another one that I absolutely love is this Concordia OER site. It's awesome. It's just awesome. It's kind of beautiful in a way because it's very simple, but I just love it. Let me show you. Okay, it's a little better. All right. So there again, I have a bunch of information over here, kind of like what we've talked about, the whys and the whats. But these are here, two things. They have a couple of open repositories for you to be able to find materials and things like that. The really awesome thing is this guy here. This is their specific subject ancillary like finder, okay, the resource finder. So, okay, what is somebody teaching here?
Political science.
Political science.
Pick another.
Well, so we're batting like 1,000 there. Okay.
Health sciences.
Health sciences, where was that? Right there, okay. I do have political science, so I know where that is. So don't feel like I can't find you something. I can. Okay. So here, right, categorized. Here's your textbooks. I love this site because it gives you the publication date. Because we're always wanting things to be as current is that the is added to that course, they have the textbook, they have the information, right? A lot of the textbook come in PDF or EPUB format. So at that point in time, they can take it, they can drop it on their Kindle. They can use it in a e-reader program, right? At some point in time that reads those files. Now they can take it with them anywhere, okay? Traditionally, if today's Monday, you had a student that enrolled today, Wednesday, and then they got all the materials and everything else like that. They order their textbook, they're getting their textbook at the soonest if they got it on Amazon. Friday-ish, Saturday maybe, right? At that point, you're how long? You're a week that you're already behind. And as a student, that's rough, right? That's rough. So what do? We copy things, right? So we are making things accessible for your students in a fashion that's easy for them to find and right away when they get to class, but you're not breaking federal copyright law by copying 3 chapters of your book, right? And putting it in your class. I'm not going to judge anybody here because I know that I have been there, not only as a student, but also as a professor at a time where you just have to do something, right? So the student gets what they need so they can be where everybody else is going to be up to speed.
These textbooks, can you say that using this example with the biology, and I like chapter such and such on the first one, but I don't really like the rest of it. But yeah, can we do that?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Woohoo!
Yes, you can. And this, thank you for that, is one of the beautiful things about OER. Is I do not, if I pick this book and I like the first chapter, and that's all I like, that's all I have to use. Not with that whole textbook. How many times does that happen? Right? You like a third of the information and the rest of it you have to stand in class and be like, okay, so I know the author said this, or the reading this week was this. However, okay, and now you're in a philosophical debate with a person who doesn't actually have ability to speak into, and what are we doing? You're putting your student in the middle of having to basically decipher what's thing. The book we're reading says something maybe contrary, okay? And especially if we're talking about some subjects like, you've got human sexuality, or you've got some controversial topics and things like that, that could get, right? We could insert words into what that feels like. Okay, as a professor now, if you do stuff like that, you don't have to feel that you have to bounce around on your defend where you politically stand, or whatever that might be, and that's the beautiful thing. Also, a lot of times when you go to use a particular source, they're going to ask you for your information. One of the reasons why they do that is to let you know that if it's been updated at some point in time, you'll get a notification from that resource or that clearinghouse or that repository. That's the word I was looking for, to let you know. This has been to go in and then grab the updated version if you want to. You also, depending on the Creative Commons license, have the ability to add, so think of it kind of like Wikipedia, okay, but a lot less fuzzy, right? Where I'm I'm less concerned about if this information is actually factual or not, because I know that it is, because I know where I'm putting the factual information in, I'm adding it into this resource. I'm going to use that term with this author, okay? And so now you have the ability, and maybe you even reach out to that author and say, hey, I am a subject matter expert in this area, and I'm teaching, and I would love to be able to add some things in. Can we do that? Come on, right? I'm sure at that point they would love that help. And now what are you doing? Oh, now not only are you teaching students, but now you're also writing material and things like that. Okay, that was kind of not necessarily student focused. That was more, right, you as an adjunct faculty. But that stuff looks great on the CV. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, no judgment if that's where you go. Okay. Okay, so those are course materials. Now there are a number of other ones. Sorry, as you can see here, I'll click on. We'll go to Merlot just so you can see what I'm talking about. So you said political science.
Right.
Oh man, I actually spelled it right the first time when everybody was watching. Oh, the statistics on if that actually works are shocking, right? How many times you misspell something when everybody's looking? Okay, so literacy and political science, modified the 2016, here's one that was modified just last fall. Right, so you've got another rating. Right, so as you can see, right, here's what I'm talking about.
And you can drill down.
Mhm.
I mean, you can put in keywords and all kinds
Yes.
of stuff to drill down to the kind of topic you want.
Yes. Well, and the other thing too is let's say you're using a textbook that now maybe is out of print. You can type in that ISBN number, and if there are open resources that either connect to that or they from that and pulled or done something with, they will connect it back, right? And so now you don't have to buy or have your students purchase the latest version of that textbook. Maybe there's an OER that people have gone together on, built and put together, and so now they've got all of that information, but it's still connected to the same textbook, right? So now you don't feel like you have to reinvent all of your PowerPoints and all of your other things, right? And everything you've been teaching for however long you've been teaching that. You're clicking on, I say simple, let me back that up. Finding the information is half the battle, okay? The other half now is actually you spending the time to dig into it to see if it really does fit your needs, okay? So don't hear me say that it's like a one and done thing. I click, I find my textbook, I'm like, yay, summer vacation, I don't have to do anything else, I'm done for the fall. Okay, that's not the case. There is work it's going to set up in the beginning when you adopt those materials, okay? But as you continue to use them and you add your flavors and you add your tweaks and you do those things, that time becomes now less and less and less. Because you have your material, okay? And so it is, right? So you have, again, information where things were taken from. And Merlot is beautiful when it does this because it gives you the ability to see where some of that information came from and how it was put together and maybe some of the ancillaries that come along with it, right? Because I know everybody loves to make their own tests. It is like a love and passion of my life. I love to make assessments, right? I love to spend hours writing questions and multiple choice. And is this question too hard or does this work? You know, so we love those things. If you can find a textbook that has one, oh, beautiful. Test banks are gorgeous. So again, those are some things, right, that some OERs, not all of them, but some of them have as well. Okay, so again, you can see it's giving you overviews. And again, we'll come back to these guys right here a little bit later. So any questions so far? I know I'm literally throwing like it's kind of fire hose, and I'm sorry about that. There's a lot.
We'll give, I mean, you might find just a PowerPoint presentation on it. You might find an entire set of course material. I mean, it's
Yes.
a variety of what you'll find there.
That's correct. That is correct. Okay, a couple of actual like textbook foundries or places where you can go to actually find physical like textbooks that you would use in a course. So again, we'll go back to Open Washington. I told you I love their website. It is. You've got some of the other ones. You've got like Wikibooks. This Open Textbook Store is really, really good. Open Textbook Library is also really good. OpenStax is something that's been around probably since the inception of OER or when OER first started. They were there, and so they've been around a really long time. And again, there's a bunch of other pieces that are there as well.
So those are like PDFs then?
They could be. It just kind of depends.
But
So
they're not physical textbooks then?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, here's the beautiful thing. If you wanted to do something like that, I have heard and I know of universities that this is what they do. So they'll grab an OER as a department, okay? And they, for a particular course, they have their OER, they package it. What's that?
I just said course material.
Yes, all of the course materials. So they print, that OER printed, so the students have it. They have it bound. They have all the course materials. It's all put together for that student. So not only is the textbook there, but you read your chapter, and now all of your questions or your coursework, your material is right there as well. And so now it's, oh, I'm flipping, right? I've got everything that I need. And now when the student starts the course, they have options. You have a digital option that you have, and you have, for a small fee, a paper option. Okay? And with the onset of technology as we have it today, especially with the pervasiveness of technology and its use in our classrooms, students have at their fingertips the ability to interact with that material at a much broader level than they have probably at any moment in time. Okay? So you can give them assignments. And even though here's a worksheet that has these questions on it, they can open up a Google Doc and they can type out the answers. And it's simple to like send that to you, right? And do this and do that. So just because they can't physically write on something doesn't mean they still can't give you the information that you need so you know and they can show what it is that they actually know. Okay, so it was a great question, and I kind of want to highlight it for you in a moment. Okay, so let's do math. Okay, so in OpenStax, here's kind of what we're looking at, right? So let's do pre-algebra. Okay, so here is my book details. Okay. I know when it was published. Here's an actual like print ISN or ISBN number, right? Here's a digital one. Here's my Creative Commons license. Here's all of my stuff that I need. I can order a print copy if I want to. Okay, and I can use that link and put that in my course if I want to. So students have the option if they want to, or we can do it as a department. I can download the PDF. I can download for Kindle, right there. And so now I can have my Kindle app on my phone. I can send, and now I've got it in my Kindle store. So I can open it up, and I can now open it on any device now that I have the Kindle app for. Okay, I also have the ability to view it online, which is spectacular. So here's my book. Okay, let me shrink this a little bit so we can kind of actually get the full effect. Cool, huh? Much like you would see if you opened your textbook. The first page, oh, I got a cool picture, right? Oh, it does something. Well, what's this over here? Oh, I've got, these downloads that are over here, okay? Well, what's this? Oh, so here is all of the times that it's been updated, right? And with new information, things that have been removed, things that have been added. That was a lot of updates. Sorry, I didn't think it was going to be that big. Ginormous list to roll through. Sorry about that. Okay. I have attributions here that I get so that I'm giving credit where credit is due. I'm not saying it's all me, right? I can search the contents. So let's say I just want this introduction right here. And I look through and I'm like, I do like it, but I just want a couple of things. Oh, and I want to show the solution. Okay, so now, textbook, math is kind of universal, yes. Right? Like 2 + 2 is 4. We can talk semantics all day about what it could be. Okay, in theory.
That's not going to change, too.
It's not going to change. This is right. This is right. There are certain fundamentals in certain subjects that are truth. They will always be, no matter how we cut it. Okay? But how we facilitate that learning and how we showcase that learning and how we get students to learn that, that's what kind of changes from right? But again, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I really like all of this. This is great. Yeah, I like this first chapter. This is spectacular. Okay, cool. I think maybe I'd like this. So again, you see the whole book is here. That you have the ability to work your way through and look and see and do what you want to do with and everything else like that. And it's interactive to a point where, again, students can see what they want to see, and they can look through different figures, and they can see the information. And we say, okay, I want to get this book, and now here it is. I can download it as a PDF, or I can download it as a zip file. And the zip file is going to come as a collection of chapters. So now I can pick it apart if I want. And the PDF is a PDF. So at that point, I can cut my PDF apart, right? So here I can say, I just want the first 2 chapters. And here we go. Okay? This is how this operation works. There's no money that's been exchanged. It has not asked me for my credit card information, right? It has not violated my privacy at any moment in time. There's no pop-ups. One of the things I really like about this. But it's very much geared for us as subject matter experts to be able to determine what is going to be best for my students. Okay, do you have any other questions? Again, this is a deep well. It's been combing through and searching and finding and looking and trying to figure it out and saying, hey, what do you think? Okay. Creative Commons. I love Creative Commons. Anybody know thoughts about Creative Commons? I know Crystal's gonna raise her hand. I love it. She has, honestly, if I have a question about Creative Commons, I will turn over here and I will do that. Because I love not having to be the fountain of all knowledge. Right? Okay. All right, so in Creative Commons, I'm sure you've seen some of this, and we're almost done, so I'm gonna rock through these last couple of things. There are different attribution licenses, okay? So each one of these means something different, okay? For the most part, you're gonna see when it comes to Creative Commons, you probably will not see a whole lot that have a lot of regulations attached to them, okay? You'll see things where you can't say you earned it and then turn around and try to sell it for money, right? So there are attribution licenses that direction. Okay, let's kind of walk through what some of these are so you have a better understanding of some of the differences. Okay, so an open license, all right, as the creator, ownership of your academic property. Okay, so your intellectual property is still secure. You own those rights to that. You're not giving it away. Okay, a lot of times I think we get that confused. If I copyright a material, it's the exact same. So Creative Commons and copywriting are in that realm. They're the same. Okay, so my dissertation, I had my dissertation copywritten. I use that term. It always sounds weird when I say it like that, right? It just sounds wrong. Okay, so I went through that process and I paid that fee so it would be copyrighted. I'm gonna get it right. Sorry, it just sounds so foreign to me. Welcome to my English. So that way, I owned those 2 years and countless hours of my life. Okay, and I owned it. It was I felt like I needed to own it. However, I added it to an open access portal so that people could access it without having to pay for the ability to look at that information as well, right? So do you understand the difference? I still own all of the rights to that in both areas, even though I've given access without having to have receiving money or somebody having to pay to look at it, but I also own all of the rights of it on the other end, okay? An open license, I'm giving you those rights. We don't have to communicate. You don't have to talk to a publisher. You have to do anything like that. Here you go, right? You understand what they are. Here they are. This one, I'm saying you want to use anything, 2 words, 3 words, right? It is possible to plagiarize 1 word, in case you were curious, from a source. This is one of those where it's like, I'm giving. You have to ask me. I am the gatekeeper. Do not pass go. Do not click that. Okay? It's mine, but I'm giving it to you. I'm allowing you to take it and use it. All right. And if you want to add to it, cool. Let's work together. Let's partner. This one is nope. It's all me, Buttercup. You don't get to take nothing. Okay, and if you want something, you gotta ask for it. Okay, really, we don't have time. Okay, this is a great video. In 5 minutes, you will learn everything you need to know about Creative Commons. You will not have any questions. I guarantee it. I almost would like bet you money that you'll be able to answer questions on it. It's a beautiful video. Okay, last 2 slides. This was a study that was done where they transitioned from OER, regular textbooks to OER, and this is what they found. They said that not only was the students' access to the material increased, right? So we're not talking about students not taking a course or dropping a course or not even buying the textbook. Because access was increased, everything was positively perceived, and it had improved educational outcomes. Why is that? Because they had access to all of the materials, and they were good material, right? They were well-founded material. So, some people say there isn't a need. I guarantee you there is a need. No matter if you work at a community college, no matter if you work at Harvard, doesn't make a difference. Which, by the way, if you look it up online and you do some research into it, Harvard is actually one of the big guys that's moving. You're seeing it. Harvard, Stanford, Yale, right? Princeton, Penn State. You're seeing a lot of these bigger. I threw Penn State in there. Don't even ask me why. You're seeing a lot of these bigger universities. That's where they're moving to. Okay, because they see the same thing. If I can mitigate a cost for my students, come on. Okay. Thanks, guys. You were good on it. I appreciate it. Now, I do want to tell you, if you need anything, if you have questions about OER, or you want to dig into this a little bit more, or you are having trouble finding some stuff, do not lose my email. So send me an email, okay? I will be happy literally to walk you through stuff. If you're having questions about it, or how do I get this, or how do I use this piece and this piece and this piece, how do I give attribution? All right, thanks, guys. Oh.
Like right now, students have to access. So we chatted sandwiches. Your email address.
Yes. Actually, don't even need my email. If we go in, it'll just ask you. So you just do this.
Just things like for his reason.
Oh, okay, come on. I'm coming.
Thanks for.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, so like, do you, if I want like, see that we have this. Good suggestions, okay. Good suggestions for like someone I can actually
Yes.
talk to.
Well, get that PowerPoint and look at those links that you see.
Right.
I've helped develop some American
Yeah.
literature courses here. And,
Is it
There's-
VR?
yes, or at least searching for them and providing them to the instructor to say, hey, if you want to provide this material here.
Yeah. Has anyone ever put a textbook together?
For American Lit. There's a site that he did not, well, I don't know.
Well, so
Off the top of my head.
Daniel DeRosa has. I'm sorry, Robin DeRosa has. I have her anthology, but I'm looking for like someone like who's actually had experience with this, like, that I can work with face to face.
Okay.
Just kind of gearing up
Darren Olson is an instructional designer.
That's good, yeah.
I used to be at Boise State, and he was at Boise State at the same time. He would be a great resource for you.
You think you'd be able to help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you building an online class or face to face?
No, it's face to face.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be using it, like I also teach online, I
Yeah.
got the online version this year.
Mhm.
And so I'll use it in that as well.
Yeah.
But it'll be the first time around, it'll be face to face.
I know that Khan Academy Talk Center is not just math. Art history and, I mean, just name it. So they might have American literature.
So again, like I know, I'm looking for like, someone I can actually hang out with and
Okay,
get feedback from. 'Cause I
talk to
know-
Darren.
Talk to Darren. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good set.
I don't know if he does only online or both face to face and online.
He does.
Yeah, he's a great resource. Yeah, Crystal sent him.
I've already done that.
Have you?
I didn't want to.
He's a researcher living there.
Yeah, I can tell.
So he will find where you need to find to help you.
It's just-
Yes, ma'am. What's that? We have a open session right now downstairs. Yeah, we basically just did it in the morning, it's our second morning. So, we'll try to see what we need. Hopefully, we're right. It's been a little bit next year, we offer a little bit. It's been for about 2 weeks. So it's fun. Kills me. Just kills me.